Hi, I'm Maggie,
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is
a Very Bookish podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of a Very Bookish podcast. Today is going to be our 2020 wrap-up podcast for books this year. I can't believe we're already done with 2020. I don't know about you, but I was telling customers, I was like, oh, Merry Christmas. And they looked at me, they're like, it's not Christmas anymore. And I was like,
Christmas.
It's not Christmas.
It came and went so fast.
Yeah. And I think it's because due to quarantine, we were in it for so long. We're still in it technically, that it just made everything go by faster. Because we weren't out doing stuff. We were just sitting at home. And of course I was reading. So of course it went by super fast. I don't know about you.
Yeah. This is my second week of vacation. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Christmas has came, especially because usually for Christmas I go to my aunt's house, and we went for Thanksgiving because it's just her husband in the house by themselves, and it's just me and my family, and they don't really go out, so they're in our bubble basically. And especially because we're going often over to them to go house hunting, so they're in our bubble, and we weren't able to go this Christmas because she had to go to Mexico because there was her husband's mom had passed away, but she died of natural causes, I want to say. Yeah. And she got back, so she's in self-quarantine for these 2 weeks, and this week she's going to be lifted and she's good. And so it was kind of sad not being able to be with her. We didn't get to do our tamales. We didn't get to do any of our pozole, which is what, us Mexicans, we do. But it was nice.
I mean, for the last, for 15 years of my life, I spent a lot of time with, my family on Christmas. So, my aunt, my cousins, we would all go to my grandma's house for Christmas Day. We'd open presents at our house, and we'd go to my grandma's house to open presents from her. And, the last 2-3 years, I haven't been doing that because I've been in college. So, I'm we're not going all the way down to Texas, especially with this pandemic. We're not going to see people anymore. And thankfully my friend who is in my bubble is coming over to spend the holidays with me. Chris, we'll be on New Year's Day. This is going to be our first podcast episode of 2021.
Yes. Woo.
Which, as for audio listeners, Grace has a 2021 little, sparkly headband on, and then I'm just chilling tonight.
I'll post pictures on our Instagram story so you guys can see my look for tonight.
Yeah, she's all dressed up, and then I'm over here in my beanie and the sweater I've been wearing for the last 2 days. I'm sorry guys, I just didn't put that much effort in today. I have just been chilling at home. I don't have work I have work off for a full week, which feels weird. But also apparently stuff went down today because it finally snowed. And it hasn't snowed at all since October here in Kansas. And it finally snowed, and so shit went down at the store today. So it's been hectic for everybody else. I was well, I'm glad I didn't work.
Glad you weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a week off vacation, it goes by so fast. You don't even realize it. I thought yesterday was. My days are all mixed up. I thought Monday was Tuesday and Tuesday was Wednesday. I'm just all over the place, and that's usually how it is when the year's ending and beginning. So
yeah, no, you're just
ready.
Yeah, especially I feel with because especially during quarantine, when I wasn't in school, I was reading a book a day. So I felt it went by so fast, especially because I was reading so fast. But also I was spending my full day reading, and I was holy cow, my day has just gone by, and it's 6 p.m. and I'm almost hey, do you want dinner? And I'm no. And then I just continue reading till 2 a.m.
Not really.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I remember when in summer I was reading ACOTAR for the first time, and I started ACOWAR. And the whole day I'm busy doing other things, so I had the audiobook playing, and then I sat down and read the book for a while, and then I like look up and I'm like almost done with the book. And you know, it's a thick book, and I'm not the type to like read that fast. You know, I like to space it out a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, the whole day is gone and I'm almost done. I think I was like, they were preparing for battle. And I was just like, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, like, even today, like, I finished the second book to A Touch of Darkness, which is A Touch of Ruin, is the second book. And then I started this book, spoiler alert, by Olivia Dade. And I'm, like, halfway through this already. And I've just been spending my day reading. And, like, since I don't normally read now because I'm working 40 hours a week, it's really a pleasure to read and, like, get to sit down and have, like, 4 hours of just straight reading.
Yep.
Yeah.
You missed the... You can't do that. And then it sucks because, like, when you're reading a book and then, like, you go... Like, you're in it. Like, you know, the first couple of chapters, like, I want to say, like, the first act of a book, you're into the book, but you're not invested. But then once it reaches like that certain point where you're like in the world, you don't want to put it down anymore. Like, you could put it down towards the beginning, but once you're in the meat of the story, you don't want to put it down.
It's like the first 100 pages where, like, you're getting to learn the book and stuff. And then after, like, 100, because, like, that's what you were telling me. I think don't remember what book it was. You're like, get through the first 100 pages and then you'll like it. I think it was from Blood and Ash. That's the book. And you're like, just get through the first 100 pages and you're going to be in love. And I did. I read it in a day. I read it so fast. Which I guess that kind of spearheads me into my first question of our 2020 wrap-up is your new author that we loved. So this is like an author that you've discovered in 2020 that you loved, and I already know my answer.
Is it the same one? I think
it's the same one. Yeah. JLA. I mean, you can't expect much from us. If she ever sees this podcast, like, hi, JLA, like, I love you. Thank you for writing for Blood and Ash and, what is it, Half-Blood series. I'm reading that. I still am on Napoleon. It's been, like, 3 weeks. But you have
to take a break. You've been speeding through it. You got to take a break, and then you'll jump back in.
I mean, I read the first, like, 3.5 books in, like, 3 days. So I was, like, really speeding through it, and then I just started like reading like the J.R. Ward series, which is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and that's taken up all my time. Which 18 plus people go read that series. Like, you need to. It's good.
So to kind of piggyback off of that question, why is JLA your favorite newfound author this year?
I think she has so many diverse, like, not diverse as in like like she has diverse characters, but like the genres that she writes. So like she has like Half-Blood, where it's more of like a like Percy Jackson but older, and then she has like From Blood and Ash, which is more of like a fantasy romance fae kind of vampire kind of book. Like, she writes a lot of different stories that, whereas like Moss, she writes like fae. Like, that's her thing, is like fae. Whereas JLA is writing like, oh, you have Atlanteans and you have regular normal people, and then you have like Half-Bloods and demons and pures in her Covenant series. So it's like she's a very diverse writer when it comes like her like stories and her backgrounds for books. And her books are just so easy to read and so good that's why I love her. What about you?
For me, I think her book just came at me at a point where like it was like a mix of nostalgia mixed with like me just being a grown-up and new adult genre kind of jumped at me. And it was kind of at that point where like I was still in YA and I still love YA, but it was kind of getting to the point where I needed a little bit more. And then I stumbled upon From Blood and Ash, and it was kind of everything that I was looking for. And it was done really well, and I connected with all of her characters, like every single one of her characters in her story. I could find myself being one of them, especially Poppy, and, you know, we love a plus-size to mid-sized girl. And I really liked Hawk and his, like, whole story and his, like, kind of torment and his pain of his past life and moving forward.
Morally
And
gray characters.
morally gray characters, but like truly morally gray, where it's just like you gotta hate them a little bit, but then you also like them. And I really like that about characters, about in any book. If a character is really truly morally gray, where they're like really, you don't know if you really like them, or if you don't know if you really hate them either. I really like that, because they're just easier to connect with. And instead of being this like uptight perfect person where it's just like, well, I can never amount to that, or I can never be good enough to be with that person. So I always like that foot in each door characters. And I just really liked her world, and it was vampires, and vampires are where I fell in love with reading. So her book came at a perfect time for me, and the rest was history. Let's just say that.
Yeah, so with JLA being your like newest author, what was your biggest surprise for a book that you read this year, or book series?
Book series that was a surprise. I always said look around every time you ask
I
me.
kind of think I would know what your biggest surprise was that you would like.
I don't know.
You want me to guess it?
Sure.
An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. Because you were so surprised that you liked it. You were like, wait, Maggie.
Yeah, I was. Because I'm trying to think back. Is there any book that really like, oh my gosh. And look, like as I'm looking at all of the books on my shelf, I'm like, what was my reaction as I finished each of those books? And literally, this is the only one. I'm pointing right behind me because it's right here above me. Was the only one that as soon as I finished it, I snapped you. And I was so mad at you because Fairy Loot had just finished their whole... No, it wasn't Fairy Loot. It was Fake Rate.
Fairy Loot. It was Fairy Loot. They did the exclusive edition of like the quartet books. And it was literally like the day after they ended their sales. You were like, Maggie, why didn't you tell me I would love this book? And I felt so bad because I was like, I genuinely didn't know if you would like it, because I know some people don't like the book. And I was like, I didn't know if you would like it or not.
Honestly, it was just like, I finished it and I'm just like, I just kept thinking back to like all of the emails that I got, because I'm the one with the Fairy Loot subscription, and you really like this series, and you were just like, Grace, I need you to like send me the email, send me the link when when it opens up for subscribers to get their set. I was like, okay, fine, like I haven't read the series, so go ahead. And then I sent it to you, and then literally the day after the sale closed, and that was it, I finished the book and I was like, oh my gosh, why did I not order a set for myself?
You haven't even finished the series yet. You've only read the first book. I read all of them. I have not read the fourth one.
That's all you kind of need. With a good series, that's all you kind of really need. The first book, great characters where you can see the character growth in the first book.
Yeah.
Where you know over a series is going to be good. Like there's some books that are great books by themselves, and then as the series goes on, it kind of like goes down in scale. But based on the growth and the journey and how many like little hints of things to come later on in series to come and circle back to, I can tell that it's gonna be a series that I'm just gonna really, really love, and always forever regret that I never got that edition set, but it's fine. I mean, that one for sure, and another one, but I can't see it.
Was it A Discovery of Witches?
How'd you know I was looking at that?
Grace, I know you well.
Dude, like literally as I've been talking, I kept looking back at it, and then like how did you,
It's my bookseller instincts, Grace. It's my bookseller instincts.
No, it was pretty good. It did surprise me because if you guys didn't know, Discovery of Witches is the first book in the All Souls trilogy, which is written by Deborah Harkness, and it is a TV show on AMC or Sundance and Shudder. The first season is based on the first book, which is The Discovery of Witches, and the second book, Shadow of Night, is the second season, which is coming out in later this month in January.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the second season set in a different time than the first? The first book and second book are different, like time zones, aren't they?
Shh. Can't tell you that.
Wait,
So,
I've already seen on Netflix. They're different times.
So, okay, well, let me explain it for our listeners. Let me explain it. So this series is adult fantasy, urban fantasy, but story with witches, vampires, and demons. But demons are just not demons. They're just a form of creature.
Want to know an interesting fact? Barnes and Noble shelves it as a mystery thriller, not a fantasy, which I thought was very interesting because I was like, oh, it's not like a fantasy book. It's like a mystery thriller book.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it is a mystery thriller, but it's not like murder mystery. It's more just like trying to figure out this puzzle piece that's going on. So it basically follows Diana Bishop, who is a witch from a long line of witches, and she has turned away from witchcraft, and she doesn't use magic, and she doesn't have strong magic, or so she believes. She is a professor at Oxford, and upon one of the days in her research lab, she pulls out manuscript Ashmole 782, and it is supposedly this manuscript that has been lost for hundreds of years, and demons, vampires, and witches all around the world have been looking for that specific manuscript, and no one has been able to call it out except for her. And because now she is thrown into the mix with all of these creatures circling the book and circling her, she's trying to navigate this whole world and her own abilities. Amongst the creatures that are looking for the book is this vampire known as Matthew de Clermont, who is also a genetic professor who researches the genetics of all creatures, and he is figuring out throughout his research that creatures are dying off and witches are losing their power, and he hopes that this manuscript will help him figure out how creatures were made, essentially. But amongst this whole thing, they figure out that finding this book and figuring out the mystery of this book is going to be a lot harder. And of course, it is a forbidden romance. So Matthew and Diana, of course, fall in love, but interspecies relationships are not allowed. But does that...
I hate that.
No, it does not stop them. And over the course of the 3 books, we see time travel, we see power, we see elemental powers, we see...
There's time travel? That's where I got the time travel from.
There is time travel. That's like a small spoiler. The second book is set in 1590.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Big time travel. It's not like, a little bit. It's a little bit of historical fiction. And fun fact, Deborah Harkness, the author of this book, is a professor at USC, and she is a professor of historical fiction or history, alchemy. And it's a very interesting book because it's scientifically written and historically written, so you get a lot of it's written as if it was in the real world. All of these little tidbits of information, and these famous people are actual people who have lived in real life. But it's one of those things this person is actually an alien, like Elvis Presley. Did he really die, or was he go back to his planet? Kind of like that kind of thing, but they were a witch or a demon or a vampire kind of thing. And I'm reading the second book now, and I'm in love with the time travel and the historical people and the romance.
The husband. I saw that on your...
Oh, my son. Yeah, the husband.
Something about the husband. I'm not going to ask any further so don't get spoilers, but something about the husband. I know that got you all in your feels.
Oh, he did. And the son. the sun too. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. For those of you who have read it, have read the All Souls trilogy, Marcus he's one of mine, and I've only read a chapter of him, and I wanted more of him.
I started branching off more into adult like fantasy and like romance, as you've seen by my obsession with J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series. And with spoiler alert, I mean, I still get YA titles all the time because YA is like my thing, especially at where I work. I'm the YA extraordinaire. Like anybody ever, like I'll like be listening on the radio and at like customer service just doing stuff, and somebody goes, Maggie, I need you in the YA section. I have a customer here looking for a book, and they like don't even like I don't even have to look it up, or they'll like ask me like, hey, do we have this book in stock? And I'm like, no. I would know. Nope. I've looked for that book. Nope. But like I'm starting to branch off, especially with V.E. Schwab, Victoria Schwab, her Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That's on my shelf. It's over there. And like there's a book called War Widow and like Red Rising, and I'm not looking at all of them right now. I redid my bookshelves. If anybody who like on the YouTube, they can see that my shelves are different this time. They're gonna be like, I change them like every 2 weeks. But yeah, I've started to branch out into like adult fantasy, adult sci-fi, adult romance books, which I'm proud of.
I'm starting to inch more into sci-fi. Not so much fantasy, but more into sci-fi, and then more into like just because I keep looking at Aurora Rising and it's kind of calling my name a little bit, but I kind of wanted to off until the next book comes out or closer to it. But I think it might be time.
Experience my pain of reading the last pages of the second book and just screaming, what the fuck? That's what happened. I was sitting in like, don't remember where I was sitting, but I went, what the fuck? With that ending, I was like, what? I think I was in my room and Carly was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay with this ending. So
I might.
I'll reread the books with you.
Okay. Down.
Because I don't have to like how you would read them. I would just it could take me a while to read them.
Are we adding that to our list of what?
Yeah. We'll just do that in an Excel spreadsheet, really.
I was trying to do a bookshelf on Goodreads for all the books that we wanted to read together. It's just too much work because we add more and more all the time. So
I'll just do it. I would do it.
I know you would. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna start reading those for sure. But with that like heart-wrenching ending for you, what was your biggest upset of this year?
Oh, my biggest upset? Twilight. I hated Twilight so much. Let me grab my book.
My heart.
At the end, when it started getting to like Jacob's POV, you could see like everywhere for the YouTube audience can see where like I tabbed, and these are like sections where like Jacob said something, and I just absolutely hated it. Like I refused to read Breaking Dawn because of Jacob.
Yeah, everybody doesn't really like his POV, and I get that too. But I'm kind of offended a little. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I understand. I mean, you're older now. Had you read Twilight back when you were young, probably would hit different.
Grace, maybe. I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
14, 15.
Yeah,
14.
I probably would have loved it at like 14 if I had read it, but I don't think my mom would have allowed it.
It does not age well with the times.
Yeah. No, especially since like I read like Crave and Crush, and that was way more modern Twilight kind of book. And they look like Twilight books. I was talking with my boss, my manager, and she's like, I love this book. And I was like, yeah, they look like Twilight books. She's like, yes, they do. So
the red, black, white aesthetic is we love it.
What's red, white, black, and gold is the red and gold are going to be the next aesthetic for the book. But yeah, with your like my biggest surprise, your biggest surprise, my like biggest upset. Who was your most surprising bookish boyfriend of this year, or like your top bookish boyfriend that you met this year? I already know it, but the listeners need to know.
I think I've talked about him a bunch.
No, you could have possibly. I don't know who you're talking about, Grace. Can you explain?
You talk bio?
Is it?
Awesome. I think it is.
Wait, I'm
Go
gonna
look at. Let's give Maggie a second to go look at it right now.
look it up, because I'm like, did you?
I've updated it since our last podcast episode.
Let's
Courtesy
see.
of.
Oh, you did. It's two of them. It's not just one. It's two. You're double dipping.
I am a little bit, but they both can take it.
So who are your two?
Cass squared.
Cass squared. If anybody who didn't listen to the last podcast with Kate, we were talking about the Cassian and Castile from Akatar, and then from Blood and Ash. We were like, we're gonna make a shirt that says Cass squared. Cass squared. And I'm so excited for that.
Yes, I'm in love with both Casses because they're just so, they're my type, definitely. They're both a little bit dark and a little bit like arrogant, and they both need to be checked and set straight sometimes, and they're both gorgeous and incredible fighters and caring. They care about people in their own.
I mean, we don't even need to ask me who mine is. We don't. We just don't know. If you don't know, watch our first episode of the podcast.
You know, I mean,
I just have two candles of him right here with me. I don't know if anybody like looks in the YouTube, you'll just see me like lean down and smell something, and it's me smelling the candle. Oh my god, it's so powerful.
That she will get legally changed sometime in the future. Possibly.
Honestly,
don't do that.
What if I did this? What if for school I've changed my last name?
Gosh. You would do it.
I would do it in my Zoom calls. Like, I have Rowan, Whitethorn, Karpenko's candles here. I got one from my grandma, and then I got one from Grace. Two of the exact same candles. Just one is bigger than the other.
Listen up, listeners. Look. The Bookish Box released their winter candles, and among their winter candles was Rowan's candle. Rowan from Throne of Glass, for those of you who don't know. And I saw it and immediately thought of Maggie, and I'm like, I need to get this for her. I have to get it for her. Like, and I'm talking about, this is like at least a month ago. Okay.
It was before Christmas. Thanksgiving.
Yes, it was. It was like in November. Okay. I saw it and I was like, I have to get it. I was like, quick order, got it. A week later, Maggie and I are talking. I'm just like, look, I got you something for Christmas already. I want to tell you what it is, but then I don't want to tell you, but then I do, because I don't want you to get it for yourself. Because I know once you see it, Maggie, you're going to want to buy it. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me keep it a secret. I want to surprise her. So then a couple of days pass, and then she sends me a screenshot of the Bookish shop with the Rowan candle. And I'm like, dang it. And I'm like, oh, wow, look, they have a Rowan candle, fake enthusiasm and all. And I'm like, oh, and she's like, I have to get it for myself. I have to. And I'm just like, oh, really? Are you sure about that? Yes, of course. And I'm like, okay. And then she's just like, maybe I'll convince my grandma to. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you should ask her. Don't buy.
I kind of suspected it. You could ask Carly. I was like, Carly, I think Grace got me a Rowan candle. She was, why would you think that? I was like, she's been acting a little soft. So when I sent you that screenshot, I was like, I think Grace got me a Rowan candle, but then you never said anything about it. So I was like, never mind. Maybe she didn't.
And then the Black Friday sale your grandma ended up buying the Akatar and Throne of Glass dust jackets and the Rowan candle. And you told me, and I was just like, oh, that's so great. Yeah. Great. Good for you. Yeah. Great. Okay. And then the conversation went off, and then I ended up getting my Rowan candle and my winter court candle. And I ended up getting a Rowan candle for myself as well. And I got it for you, and I'm just like, great. Now I gotta ship it to her, even though she's already getting it. And then you got yours, and then mine ended up getting to you yesterday.
Today.
Oh, today. It was today.
It was today.
Oh my gosh.
It felt so long ago, hasn't it?
Well, today as in Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday.
And then you got another gift along with something that I made you, but we're not going to show that yet until a few of our book club members get theirs as well.
I'm going to wear it to our next book club meeting. I'm going to be like, guys.
I'm hoping that everybody does.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. To Kate, Lauren, Malia, those of you listening.
Yes.
It's coming from.
But okay, so moving on from like our bookish boyfriends, what was your biggest haul of this year for buying books?
Okay, I posted a TikTok video on this. So my biggest haul was 9 books from Barnes and Noble. It was in July. Among that was An Ember in the Ashes, Crescent City, Shatter Me, Eon. What else? A couple of other books. A Darker Shade of Magic, I believe. And a few others. Caravel. No. That wasn't my other one. But it was 9 different books. If you go on my TikTok, I like go through it and I'm like, let's see how many of this haul have I read. And I did pretty good. I read 6 of them. 3 of them I have still not gotten to them. 9 books. I spent like $150, I think. Biggest haul. And I still haven't read all of them. I'm getting to them. You? Let's hear it on. Come on, Maggie.
I'm a bargain shopper, okay? I like to shop in a store called Books A Million. And Books A Million likes to have a bargain aisle. And the bargain aisle prices range from $3 to $6 books. Hardcover books are like $6. And I'm like, sometimes they're like $4 or like $5.58. And I'm like, oh, okay. So my biggest haul is around 18 books.
Oh my goodness. How much though? How much? That's the real question. 18 books.
I did a buy online, pick up in store, and I spent $125. And that was for like 12 out of the 18 books. And then I went into store and started shopping around and got like 6 more books for like $60. So about $180. Compared to your $150 for 9 books, I'd say I did great. I doubled the amount.
You did pretty well. And the reason why I got so many in one go is because it was the first time I took my brother there with me, and I'm just pulling off and adding to his pile because he was carrying them for me. And I just kind of wanted to show off a little bit of all the books that I was going to read, and he just didn't care. So I mostly did it for myself.
No, yeah. That's a funny story because like I was working the other day and this guy was holding his girlfriend's books, and this is like a stack of like 15 plus books, and he's just holding it as she walks around. Like she's walking around, she's just pulling, she's looking at it, she's like, okay, I want this, and he's just holding it, and we're like, do you want a basket, sir? And he's like, nope, I'm good. And we were like, I literally talked to my friend Shannon. I was like, Shannon, this is why I want a boyfriend. She's like, that's the only thing men are good for. And I was like, yep.
Literally. I know a couple of other things too, but
Grace, we can't talk about that. Okay. We're trying to steer clear of that.
So,
Oh. Okay, so the fan art we loved this year. Go right into the next question. Fan art we loved this year.
Definitely from Juliet, which is BX Romance.
Mm-hmm.
She has quite a few of them that I actually like really, really love. But she was definitely one of my favorite newfound artists, Juliet. She's amazing. I just love her colors. I'm a big fan art person, so I just love fan art. And she often does work for A Touch of Magic Designs. So if you guys go to that shop.
And Fabled merch. She does Fabled merch too.
She was definitely like one of my favorite artists. My favorite one that she did though had to be
Castile.
Yeah.
I saw that work. I like how I knew. I just knew. Yeah, no.
The Castile one, but one that made me fall in love with her before was the one of Juliet and Warner from the Shatter Me series. Have you seen it?
I didn't look it up. I was on her page.
You guys on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Don't go to
YouTube. Oh, look at your new phone.
My new phone too. So it's this one. For those of YouTube listeners, it was that one that really like captured my eye, and I was like, "Whoa, that's good. Let me follow." And then I found A Touch of Magic Designs, which swayed me over.
Yeah. No, she's really good. I think for her, I fell in love with her Rowan print, the picture of Rowan for her and Aelin. Not the one of them together. I got that print, and then I got the Aelin print, and then I have the Rowan print as well. So I have two separate prints, and then one print of them together. But she for her, like I found her Rowan print, and that's when I fell in love with her page. But Sam, I got the Nessian print from. Her Instagram is Sam.ROSARIIO. Rosario. It looks like this. But she does like a lot. She did like Beth. She did Beth from Moss Trash as Manon. In her cosplay form, which I died for. It was amazing. I think the one that I fell in love with her though was her Jude and Cardin one. Oh
yeah. And then another one that I really like is Saltese.
Yes. Her Castile one.
Yeah, I like her style too. Like sometimes I really like that, like mystical looking, nice colors with Juliet and with Sam. But then sometimes I really like Sally, which is kind of like that comic book, simple line art, nice shadow lines, animated look. And so it kind of varies between the two. So I really like them. I really like fan art. If you got great fan art, send it my way because I love it.
Yeah.
I love encouraging and buying from artists and just reposting them on my Instagram. So if you follow me on my Bookstagram, I am constantly reposting fan art on my story all the time. Love it.
I love fan art. Yeah, I think this goes into our next question, which kind of really isn't a question in the slightest. Our favorite Bookish shop, which I feel like now isn't even a question. Like, I'm sorry, I have a whole shrine to them on my.
I mean, kind of.
I have a shrine. I have a Bookish box shrine.
I mean, I talk about them constantly and convince everyone to go and join their subscription.
I've spent hundreds of dollars there.
I mean, clearly. But for those of you guys who don't know, it is the Bookish box. The Bookish box is definitely one of my favorite bookish companies that I absolutely adore. I talk about them all the time and convince all of my friends to join the subscription. And if you haven't joined, you definitely should. Or you should wait until I get a rep code and then use the rep code. We'll
Yeah.
see when that
No. Bookish Box, sponsor us, please. Sponsor Grace specifically. The amount of people that she's brought on to the Bookish Box is astronomical. But yeah, no, I think for us, the best bookish shop. What about best bookish merch that you've gotten?
Oh, so because I love fan art, A Touch of Magic's designs is definitely one of them, and Fabled merch. Love their enamel pens. Like their enamel pens are amazing, and they're big. They're not like tiny; they're big.
Yeah,
So
they're expensive. They're like $15 pins, but they're like big boys.
And they're really, really good quality. Like, I love a really good hard enamel pen. And also their candles are like really, really great. Love smelling their candles. But also on the shop small business, oh my gosh, I'm spacing on the name. Follow her on TikTok.
Starlight Designs?
No.
Who?
The one that does the candles.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, but I forgot her name.
Sheesh.
Candle Lady.
Candle. I literally always like
Bookish Candle Lady on TikTok.
Let me go look for her. Because have said,
I think for me, my best bookish merch that I've gotten, and I'm basing my best bookish merch off of like things that I constantly use. So I would say my Fairy Loot from Blood and Honey. They're like from Blood and Honey exclusive edition box. I think the blanket that I got in that box. And then I would honestly have to say, oh, I don't know. My Rowan candle.
Those are the things that you...
My Rowan candle is like my little baby. I've already like burned quite a bit. Okay.
It's Mountains Market.
That's what it was, yeah. Yeah. No, she does really well.
She has been doing, so she just started her shop and she does bookish candles, and she does like pendants, like those wire pendants that like you do on your own. Like she does them by hand, which are really, really cool too. So she does those. Mountains Market. You can find her on TikTok at Mountains Market, and I think she has an Etsy shop. But we'll link everybody in the description.
Yeah. I found this artist on TikTok, and she did like wire sword necklaces and earrings, and I really want to buy one from her.
Oh, that too.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Is the same.
Is it her? I don't think she does candles.
No. It's not her, but I know who you're talking.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, our For You page is the same, because like literally I'll send you a video and you'll be like, I just saw that. Or I send me one and I was literally just scrolling through it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. No, but
you know, my favorite bookish item that I have received this year.
Yeah. That's hard, isn't it? You're like, shit. What do I do?
It has to be my Valaris mug. My holographic Valaris mug. Matter of fact, let me get it so that our YouTube watchers can see it.
And your bookish box December item blanket. You can go check out our Instagram. You can see our bookish box December unboxing on my Instagram. But we got a blanket in that, and we have both been using it like crazy.
Oh yeah. This is my Valaris mug.
It's like iridescent.
Yeah, it's that like holographic iridescent coffee mug. It says Valaris, City of Starlight, and then on the back it has the Night Court emblem, the mountains, and the 3 stars with a nice moon on it. And it is my most prized bookish possession, along with a few other things, but definitely one of my top ones, plus my blanket and my Prithian map.
Yeah, that one you do have up. I don't have any maps, but I'm okay with that because I don't have enough wall space.
Yeah.
Yet. No. I've already got your like I'm already like deciding what I'm gonna give you for like your birthday and stuff, and I've already started planning it, and Kate and I have been like talking about it today about what I'm gonna get you, and like
Kate is in on it with you?
is Kate. Hi Kate. Yeah, Kate is in on it with me. Melissa, hey, shout out if you have any ideas. Melissa, tell me any ideas when I should get Grace. But yeah, no.
April, and Maggie's birthday is in February. So I'm kind of behind on the planning, but let's just say that I've already started working it up. And now I have started talking with Carly about it, and now I am planning with her. So
Carly the other day was asking about like my like birthday party, because like we get back on the 27th of January. My birthday's the 1st, so it's literally like 3 days and then it's my birthday. And she's like, so what are we doing for your birthday? And I was like, nothing. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're not doing anything for my birthday. And she's like, no, but like we have to do something with all of our friends. And I was like, you can take me to Texas Roadhouse. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I've gone every single year to Texas Roadhouse on my birthday. I've sitting on the little thing that they make you sit on and like you go, yeehaw! I've done that every single year for the past like 6 years. I've gone to Texas Roadhouse. It's a little piece of my heart.
we're in a pandemic. That would be the perfect place for me to like surprise you.
For what?
You would be there.
You just come all the way up to Omaha and like you just walk in and you're just like, hello Maggie, and I'm like
every Texas Roadhouse, and then I'll be like, until I find the right one, while you're on the thing, and I walk in, I'm like, hey,
and I'll be like,
hey.
I think I would cry. I would be like, hey. Hey. We look like robots when we do that. For our audio listeners, we like move, you swoop your head out and you go, hey. And you do like a nice, are you using the lip chapstick too?
I am. I'm using the Bookish Box Fake Kisses lip balm, because it was just right here, and I was like, my lips are kind of dry. I need a little.
I was thinking about that too. My head's kind of hurting. I'm kind of drinking a little tonight.
Okay.
But
okay, so back to the questions. Let's focus, Maggie.
okay,
Focus.
yeah. Well, those are kind of all of my questions.
Okay, I have a couple.
Okay, shoot.
Mine are kind of negative. It's okay. What book was your biggest disappointment this year? Besides Twilight series, no.
My
biggest disappointment where it was hyped up so much, and you thought going into it you were gonna love it, and then you wanted to but couldn't.
every other Red Queen series book besides the first book. All of those books highly disappointed me. Like, I think if I had read it when I was younger, like 14, 15, I would have loved the series and stuff. But reading it now, I'm thankful I didn't buy all the books, because I don't think I could reread it, because I just didn't, as I was talking with like Kate in the last episode, I just couldn't get into it. Like, it just wasn't my cup of tea, and like it's just not for me. It was a big disappointment because everybody hypes it up, and like I think it's because I'm a little bit more mature, and so like I just like, it's not something that I gravitate towards now anymore.
You can think your way out of like certain situations. You're just like, that's not the way to do it.
And just the way like Maven acts, I'm like, I would never like the
Yeah.
way like the difference between like Cal and Maven, and where like Maven was this like very possessive person. I was like, I would if a man ever did that to me, I don't think I could forgive him the way Mare was. But I guess that's how she was compassionate, and I'm not. But that's besides the point. For you, what was your biggest letdown of the year?
I don't really have one.
You got to come up with. Oh no, we had one this month for December.
Well, Okay, so I was getting there.
I was calling you out.
Oh. So I don't really have like a complete disappointment of a book, but I do have one that I was kind of like let down a little bit, where I expected it to be a little bit better, and that is Seasons of the Storm by
Don't ask me.
Cosimano.
I think so, yeah.
And it's basically like the world's building and kind of the magic system and the characters had so much potential, and I feel like the book just fell a little flat because it was trying to be a character driven book but also trying to be a plot driven book, and certain books you can't focus on both things at the same time, and it was just felt like it was a little underdeveloped. The plot fell a little bit flat, but the characters were amazing. I really loved the characters beyond anything, and that's why I kept reading. I think that's why all of our book club kept reading, because we love them so much, and we just wish that we were able to see more from that book. I haven't posted a review on Goodreads for it. I need to do that, but I did love
a lot of reviews.
I do.
I don't.
But I don't.
You do more than me. I don't like. I did this. I'll finish my thought after you're done with your thought.
Well, I mean that was basically it.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, like, I don't like reading reviews. As I said on like one of my TikTok posts, I was like, I don't, when I see a review, I just don't read it, or like I don't watch the video or anything, because like I just want to experience it myself. And like when people like talk about like the plot or like even like the short synopsises, I don't read them. Like if you tell me, oh, it's enemies to lovers, it made me cry, I'll be like, great, that's all I need to know. And somebody was like, well, then how do you suggest people doing reviews? And I was like, that's just like my personal opinion. Like, I know some people love to read reviews. I just don't.
People do, when they're doing reviews, they kind of do like that immediate like 5-sentence blurb. Enemies to lovers, she is a warrior princess. She is kidnapped by this dark man.
I don't even like that.
That's it. And then you kind of read that and you're kind of like, okay, all right. And you kind of go into it already knowing what's going to happen. I need to know what kind of tropes I will find in this book.
Mm-hmm. I just need to know the tropes. That's it.
Reading, I need to know as well.
Yeah. No, that's.
I think I'm starting to edit my reviews a little bit more, because before they used to be like a little bit more of a breakdown for certain people who kind of wanted to know a little bit more, because I really like a romance, a well-written romance where there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of coming together.
You like an enemies to lovers romance. That's what you like.
But I like a well-written enemies to lovers where they end up working together and they're equally yoked, but then also
they're partners.
Yeah, I like partnership, but then also I want him to take charge sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, a boss queen also wants to be taken care of sometimes, and I kind of want that.
Yeah, I get that. So what was your next question? Just try to keep this going. We've already done 40 minutes.
What's a book that you were excited to read this upcoming year?
New Year's, I am excited to read. I think one of the first books I'm gonna read for New Year's is, what's it called? I have it on my shelf. I'm gonna read the Shatter Me series. That's gonna be like the first week of New Year's. I'm gonna start Shatter Me, and then I also think I'm gonna start The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and The Priory of the Orange Tree. I think that's gonna take me like a whole month to read, because I'm gonna read it while reading other books.
Definitely.
Yeah. What about you?
Me, they're all sequels.
For what books?
A Crown of Gilded Bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the Flames.
Yes.
Because that's my husband's book.
I thought you meant like in January. I didn't realize you meant for the year.
Oh, year, girl. Those Namesake.
Yes.
Excited for that one. Wings of Ebony is not a sequel, but I have been seeing it ever since I saw like the cover art. I was like, ooh, I gotta read that.
What is that?
Wings of Ebony. I can't remember the artist. I mean, the artist. That's how you know I judge books by their cover.
If we're doing like a series, like for a full series that I'm excited to read for the year, so like books that I haven't read that I have that are part of a series, probably The Daughter of Smoke and Bone and the Shatter Me series, and then the Seath series.
Scythe.
I'm excited to those series. I'm excited to read, and then
In January. Scythe, I'm supposed to read in January with Sam.
yeah, that's why I'm waiting for that so that I can read it while you're reading it. Well, I have to read it like a couple days after you start.
Wings of Ebony is by J.L. and it combines social, historical commentary, magic, and it's a really coming of age story. A girl basically finds out that she has godly ancestry and has to save the human world and the godly world.
I'm gonna look it up.
And show you the cover, because the cover is what really drew me to it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's what it was. I saw that on the like YA thing.
The like uppercase YA.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that.
I'll post that on my Instagram, on our Instagram story when this is released, so you guys can know the references that we're talking about. I just had to remember to do it. But yeah, that's a book that I'm really excited to read. But in January, my first read of the year is going to be Air of Fire.
Light the candle when you read it.
I will light the candle when I read it. It's just gonna happen to fall on that is the book, because I'm going to start Crown of Midnight as soon as I finish Shadow of Night. And I'm reading Crown of Midnight with Hadil, so we are reading Air of Fire by Saturday. So it just so happens that it will be the first book that I read. But January, I think that's going to be on my TBR for January. Air of Fire, Scythe, and I think you and I have a book. Oh, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, because we haven't read it this month.
Yeah, we have a couple books. We have like The Princess Will Save You. That's for like book club admins. I have so many books. As you can tell, these two are my TBR rows.
And what else? We're missing one. Stalking Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, that's our Bookish club one. That one's gonna be it's a pretty short read too.
I think we can do it in a week.
We could. But I think we're gonna space it out just to let everybody read it. That's how we usually do.
Oh, yeah.
And I always read it on the last minute.
You always read it on the last minute. You do. Okay. Another question.
Okay.
Top 5 new friends this year.
Oh.
Only 5. Okay.
My top 5 new friends that I've made like through this year. You.
Clearly.
Okay, so at Grace Reads. I would say
I would have been very offended had I not been first.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it based on like who I talk to the most. So like this is purely on who like I interact with the most on like Instagram and stuff. So I would say Grace Reads. I would say Kate, not at Nautical Reads. Malia Upchurch from at Book Gal. And then I would think from like TikTok, I would say that Melissa. I love Melissa. She's very sweet, but I'm like trying to look. AJ. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Celine. Celine. So it goes you, Kate, Celine.
Okay. We'll do 10.
I can't do 10. I don't have that many friends.
No, you already were like at 8.
No? Okay, so you, Kate, Celine. I'm doing top 5 only. Malia and AJ. There we go. If I didn't add you, that's because I don't talk to you that often, but I still love you. Those are the people I talk to the most. Even like Malia and AJ, I don't talk to often, but I still talk to them. What about you? Who's your first one, Grace? Who's your first? Who's your first, Grace? Come on, it shouldn't be that hard. I'm serious.
Calling me out, Maggie. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, it's you. You're my We literally text every single day. If we're not texting, we're Snapchatting, or we're sending voice recordings on Instagram, or we're sending each other TikToks. We're like all across the board.
All four of our ways we communicate, or Facebook and our JLA thing.
Text with our book club group as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you. Who's next? It's a huge jump from you to everybody else because like you I talk to every single day.
I feel honored.
You should, because that's too much energy. That's way too much energy. It is. It's not. It's honestly you. I want to say that it's Viviana, which is Reading Railroad. Everybody else is kind of like on the same tier, so it's not like
bow down.
It's not different. Whatever. Carly from Library Carly, Kate, obviously, Malia, Rose, too.
Oh, Rose.
Hadil, Celine, obviously, is in there. Melissa's in there. Who else do we have? We have quite a few. I'm just dumping
We have
them
all the same, honestly. Like our book groups are kind of the same.
Our same group. And then I also have Sam from Sam's Reading Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always talking to her too. And I think that is it.
Well, that was more than 5.
Of course. I told you, it's kind of like you and then
we could tell who's more popular here. I'm kidding.
No, it's just that I'm very nice and I respond.
Am I not nice? Hold on. Am I not nice?
And it just means that like if you message me, I'm gonna respond back and give you my full attention for like 10 minutes. And if it's more than that, then you're like automatically, on Snapchat, like when you don't really talk to anybody, but as soon as you like send like 3 chats back and forth, you're automatically on my BFF list. Like that's what it's like, because I don't talk to anybody.
That's
so if
true.
I talk to you in my inner circle,
we lost our streak, but you're still my top.
Lose our streak, but it's just because we got tired. We have that friendship who we'll talk every day for like 5 days in a row, and then we'll have one day where we're just kind of like give each other space.
We need to cool down after like a podcast day. I think like after like Fridays on podcast days, like Saturdays, weekends are where we usually like recuperate. But I know once I get back to school, we're gonna have to start doing our podcasts on Saturdays, meetings on Mondays,
book meetings, and our book clubs, admin groups, and our week is booked, honestly. But
we are very booked.
To
no
those
pun
of you
intended.
Honestly, to those of you guys I didn't mention, it's not that I didn't forget you. I still love you guys. Please reach out to me. I'll talk to you. Like I get people who message me on Instagram or just like, hey, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to ask you a quick question about this book, or
that's how we became friends.
Yeah, and I'm just like, please message me, talk to me.
I just need some guy to slide into my DMs.
I'm like, yes, talk to me. Like, what do you want to know? What part are you at? Oh my gosh, I remember that scene. I love talking to people, and I love like hyping you up on your book journey, because I feel like when you have somebody to share a book with, the book becomes more enjoyable to you. And I feel like that's why I don't have any books that have disappointed me this year, because all of the books that I have read these past 6-7 months, I've had somebody to talk about it with, and that has made the book more enjoyable than had I read it on my own completely without anybody to talk to. So when you're in a community, books I feel like they just get better. than one on your own. They're meant to be shared.
I understand that.
Your
Well,
friend, don't take it into offense.
well, okay. So I think it's time to wrap up our podcast, and we are going to end the podcast with a special toast. So you might have seen that I have been drinking. I have my little concoction of apple juice and Russian water.
And then I have my little miniature wine bottle. I want to see if I can open it and you guys can hear the...
Oh, I bet. No, yeah. So I'm apparently a very good like mixologist. So my friends say that I know like the right way to mix a drink, and like I can make it to where it's like perfect amount of adult juice and then regular juice. But
Now,
yeah, so I have...
let's see if you guys can hear it. I'm just gonna pour the whole bottle in here because we have no shame.
Yeah, we couldn't hear that at all. My little...
I heard it though. I felt it. Oh, wait! I'm forgetting one special thing.
Oh.
To our very special listeners on our podcast, I would like to make a very special announcement.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes.
I forgot about this. For those who have listened to the very end.
Yes, for those of you who haven't made it all the way down to the end, Maggie and I are going to be doing a giveaway of a copy of These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and it is a new release, and it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in the 1920s, and I'm pretty sure you have seen it all over Book Talk, Bookstagram. And it just so happens that I happen to have an extra copy, and I thought our listeners deserved a little something. So to all of our listeners, do us a favor and subscribe,
like, and then comment your Instagram and also the book that you're most excited to read for 2020. And make sure you are following our Instagram.
2021, woman.
2021. Okay, you know what? It's been that year, okay? It's been that kind of year. But yeah, so comment your book you're most excited to read for in 2021. Comment your Instagram handle and make sure you like the video, subscribe, and you are also following our Instagram, which is a Very Bookish Podcast on Instagram, which all the links will be in the description, and how to enter will be in the description, and when it starts and when it ends will be in the description.
Yes. And we will pick a very, very lucky winner and announce it on our next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck to you guys.
Yeah, good luck. Hope a lot of people... Cheers to you. And so...
our podcast, you'll get an extra entry as well.
Yeah, if you share our podcast, so you have to tag us. So tag me and Grace, and then tag the Very Bookish Podcast Instagram on your Instagram story, and we will add an extra entry. But so I want to toast to Grace. I want to give a toast to you, Grace, my very special friend who I have met this year, and I read your letter, and I'm so excited to begin my journey with you through adulthood with you. I feel like this year I've definitely grown and definitely matured, and having you this half year, I've known you for half a year now, has been very special to me. You have helped me in more ways than you have realized, and that I have not yet explained to you, but I eventually will over the years. And you helped me through a lot. Just your presence being there gave me something to look forward to every other day. And even though I was really scared at the beginning of our friendship, and I was like, oh, she's probably like not going to be that good of a friend, to now where we have a podcast together, we are starting a book together, and I just want to say thank you for being my friend and continuing to deal with all my bullshit every day and my chaoticness, and thank you for being one of my dearest friends that I've made in 2020, and I love you so much. And even though you are 2 time zones away, I still enjoy your company, and I enjoy our talks and our book club, and you have made my second half of 2020 the best it could have ever been. So thank you. Cheers to you.
Why are you gonna do that? You can't do that on me. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up.
I've been preparing. Just wait till you see my Instagram post about it.
Oh gosh, I'm not ready. Usually I'm the one that does like the really heartfelt. Well, Maggie, and to all of our listeners, it has been one hell of a year. And I don't think I could have made it through this whole year without all of you. Without you, Maggie, especially. You definitely pushed my love of reading onto another level. I don't think I would have been where I am had it not been for you. As you may have read in our letter, we have so many things planned and so many amazing journeys that we're going to take part of. And I can't think of a better person to take on this journey with you other than you. And I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to say anything too much because you know how I get. So I'm not even going to look at you. And to all of our listeners, we love you guys. And we thank you guys for joining our little podcast and joining us on these little chats. And we hope that you have an amazing 2021. And we hope that your love of reading never stops and that you get to travel into multiple worlds and meet beautiful characters and that you find yourself in every single one of the books that you read and that you just, I don't know, you just find happiness. Gosh, Maggie, I don't like it when you do.
Do you want me to continue talking so you don't have to? So here is to a better ending to 2020 and a new beginning of life in 2021 and to health and to reading and to experiencing a lot of stuff with you, our listeners, but mostly you, Grace. I can't wait for the amazing things that we have planned together. I don't know. I couldn't have chosen a better partner for this. And I don't think I would have been able to do it. You are the Reed to my Lou. You are a soul sister to me. And I am so grateful for you. So thank you so much for helping me through 2020. And here's to 2021 and the next decade of our lives of friendship, because I know you will be a long-lasting friend.
Yes, you can't get rid of me very easily, Maggie.
Here you go. Cheers. Well, cheers the camera. There we go. Cheers. There you go.
And
that is the end of the podcast. And thank you so much for listening, especially to Grace and I and our little heartfelt messages to you and to each other. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, enter the giveaway. Look at the rules down below. We will be posting a giveaway thing on our Instagram as well, and be promoting it. And so all the rules will be in the description, everything we've talked about. So like links to websites and stuff for the Bookish box, Fabled merch, everybody will be down in the links. And thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.